We are reaching the end of the lost Olympiad, Stockholm 1947. We are at round 14. At round 14, the author chose a game played between Stalberg from Sweden, a famous grandmaster, Gideon Stalberg, against Aikens from Scotland. Now the funny thing is Stalberg is top strong, and yet he loses against Aiken, and so this is the thing, over the chessboard everything can happen. And now let's watch the game. Stalberg opened with d4, d5, c4, e6, knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, bishop e7, bishop g5, castle, e3, knight e4. The line associated with the old maestro of common sense, Emanuel Lasker, the removal of one or two pairs of minor pieces, relieves black's defensive task considerably. Bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, queen c2, and c6. Black could continue with knight takes e3, okay? But I can prefer to remain in occupying e4 instead of moving it. So let's see what happened. Bishop d3. In keeping with Stalberg's solid style, on the other hand, it was playable, knight takes e4, okay. f5. Wow, so this is the thing. Up to now we were thinking it's an orthodox game, then it became a Slav semi-triangle, but now it's a stonewall. It's a stonewall Dutch. And let's see what it says. Further protecting e4 and giving the rook some room on the file. Black has real chances in this line if white plays passively. Castle, knight d7, rook e1. So yeah, it's true, this line, it's a little bad and passive. This is passive because you must do this and this in order to be used. A lot of tempi, right? But that kind of pawn structure is kind of solid. Okay, so b6, knight d2, and bishop b7. Okay, so I found another way. The queen bishop is reckoned to be black's problem piece in the Queen's Gambit decline. Watch it in this game. In reality, this is not the Queen's Gambit decline, this is the Stonewall Dutch. But this is a very interesting way to develop that bishop. f3, knight takes d2, queen takes d2, d takes c4. This exchange, coupled with a later e5, will make the black queen bishop the strongest minor piece on the board. So not e5, but I think it's c5. I'm sorry, in this book, strangely, I have difficulties to see the difference between a c and a e. Because unfortunately the moves are in bold, so you can see them, but the comments are light and some characters are a little fading, maybe because the book is from the 1980s. Maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, bishop takes e4 and rook a d8. About here, Stallberg must have begun to worry. His projected e4 does not look so good after all. Yeah, if you play e4, oh my god, that's funny. Yeah, e4 is not playable in this position. Let's see what he played. He played queen c2, right, because I mean, you have a queen on the same file, you don't want to keep it there. King h8, this is good because, you know, when he goes here, this starts to become a little weak. So it could be a mess. And again, because this is a kind of Stonewall Dutch, so that is a typical tactic in that opening. Queen a4. White has lost the thread, thwarted in the center, he makes an unwise excursion into the outback. a6, f4, and this is marked as a bad move. Stallberg takes the major strategic decision to keep the center close, instead of working to open it. Now the lines are clearly drawn and the black pieces, especially the queen, have quicker access than the white ones to the region of the white king. I can rises to the occasion magnificently. White may be an international grandmaster, but that king is nevertheless vulnerable. No, the thing is, I'm not sure that Stallberg in that time was an international grandmaster, because I don't know when they gave the titles. And also the rating, in reality, is from the 1970s, I think, so it is not that old, let's say. So after f4, rook f6, because obviously you want to come here or here and attack. Queen b3, attacking e6, and c5, boom. Now look at that queen bishop, which is this. White is at a loss for good moves. Black is threatening b5, and white can hardly risk d takes c5 because of knight takes c5, queen takes b6, and rook d2, and then yeah, it becomes a really problem, right? For those who cannot see, let me show you the idea. So if he plays this, d takes c5, it's a mess because queen takes c5, queen b6, and rook d2. And I think here the game is really a disaster for white. Well, okay, let's go back. Okay, so we saw the line if white takes on c5, but now we can see instead what happened in the game, which was a4. After a4, rook h6, obviously with the Stonewall Dutch, also Botvinnik won many games, I think, because there is a strong attack on the king side. Rook f2, queen h4, and next move is d5. Now try to figure it out why g3 is the move that you don't want to play. Obviously the problem is bishop, and the fact that if you can go here with a piece like a rook is a checkmate, right? So attack, if you take, this game is over, right? So that's why g3 is not really playable. Just to give you an idea. Then, of course, please analyze it a little better, but I'm sure that that is the reason. Okay, so he played d5, queen take h2, king f1, queen g3, and king e2. Okay, queen g4 check, king d2, e takes d5. Since white dare not to open the d-file by recapturing, he will soon have a central pass pawn coming at him as well. And this is the last row. Bishop e2, queen g3, rook e f1, because you need to defend it. d4. So now the diagonal is open, and this is a problem. Huh? Knight d1, c4. A very beautiful game, I think. Obviously, the pawn cannot be taken because if you take, it's a mess. Let's see. Okay, what happens? Let's say bishop takes c4. Knight c5. Then you have to move this. Maybe you move it here. But then it's a mess. It's a mess. And of course there are other possible moves. So choose this and play this. Yes. Okay, so after that move we saw that, no, sorry, there was d4, so the knight was here, d4, it goes here, and then c4, boom. Queen a3, d takes a3, and queen c1. Very beautiful move. So I don't know if you saw it, but why you cannot take this? I think the reason is probably rook d6. You have to move, probably you lose it. Okay, so that's probably why. So let's see if I put it back right. Tack, tack, tack. Yes. And now it's black turn that plays knight c5. King b1 is trying to escape. Bishop e4 and king a2. The king has run out of files. If only it were not against Scotland, Stabberg could resign. Okay, knight d3. I think I need to go to sleep because I'm falling down. Bishop takes d3. C takes d3. Okay, now with two pawns here, I don't know. The game seems over, right? Queen e7. Rook g8. Rook f3. Bishop takes f3. Rook takes f3. e2. Rook takes g3, boom. E takes d1 and makes another queen. A rook and 2 pawns down, Stallberg has one shot left in his locker. Yeah, let's see what happens. Rook takes g7 and queen takes a4. And here white resign, because if he plays the king here, there is rook here, queen here, rook takes the queen is checkmate. I hope you enjoyed this game, because Stallberg generally wasn't losing like that, so it's kind of interesting.